Good afternoon. It's April 25th, 2022. And just so you know, probably these next 3 weeks, my schedule is going to be a little different at work. So I think for the next 3 weeks, I'm probably going to be doing this around the same time every day, about 12:30. So yeah, just if anyone, I don't know if that information affects anybody, but anyway, here's what we have for today. Really turned out to be a range that you can see from about 9 a.m. on, though. We were just trending up. So in the overnight, it looked really choppy. Yeah, the bias was down, but it just I actually had an opportunity to turn my computer on at about 5, shortly after 5, and so I think this was forming, and it just looked that actually looks like a second entry, but just looked too choppy. But if you draw your trend lines, you might like this. I wouldn't like that, to be honest. But then you get this, which it looks like a failure, but it's also first entry, second entry, and that is off the trend channel. So that's the first trade. I think with that much room to the highs, I think you can take that. Definitely off the trend channel. And looks like, to be honest, I would kind of look at that as a new low, and first entry failed second entry, but that looks like that's a stretch. So maybe you would take that, but I wonder why why would I have my lows down here? This is where the highs, I mean, that's where the highs should be. Yeah. So I'm not sure why I had those highs right here, I think. But anyway, you can see this channel up breaks shortly before the open. And a failure occurs right here. That's very far from the EMA, though, so you might take that. I just don't want to mark it, although that does look like a first failed second entry long. And then we get these lower highs here, but the trend is starting to fade. And break, new low, 2 legs down, and a reversal, but we don't get a setup. And then that fails, and we break lower beneath the EMA, form some congestion, and that continues on downward. And we have this range down here. I didn't draw it, but you can see that. First entry, this is actually a second entry right here. But I'm not too sure about how I feel. That's above the EMA. You're going right into the EMA, but it did just bounce off that midline. So if you have all that, you might consider that. But the failure comes right here when this ticks higher, and boom. And I think you got to go on the engulfing bar there. I don't think you can take this down here. It's too far from the EMA. And then we continued to get some lower highs. No second entries, though. I viewed this as a spike in channel, kind of. We get a break, some congestion, and then this. This is a higher low. Oh, okay. So I don't know what. I must have accidentally moved my I must have accidentally moved my highs and lows. But I mean, yeah, because this is the overnight lows. I don't know what the heck I would have been thinking. I must have just accidentally clicked it. Anyway, we break lower, and first entry failed second entry, so this is actually pretty tempting. I'm about to mark this. This looks pretty good. A lot of price rejection here. Yeah, so I like that. You are going into the overnight low, so you might be a little concerned, but I think plenty of room back to this high. I think you take that. That ends up being a good move. And then we're just chopping back and forth clearly. And so I think you got to stay out of that. And I just drew these lows off this low, and that does look like a midline and this high. This is actually a second entry short right here. I'm going to go ahead and mark that aggressive because it's a second entry short, but I feel like I wouldn't feel confident knowing what's happening yet. But that's pretty good. And it's not a lower high. That's another thing. We get this rocket on out into this congestion. No entries in there. We get a break. Comes up here. Chops, or really is congested. Makes a move to a new high. It reverses violently. No entries there. Come here. First entry. Second entry. Oh, they trapped a bunch of people here. So I would guess that the true second entry probably came, right here. Not sure if they trapped those people too. That's a doji, so you 33.75. Okay, so yeah, you would have scalped out there. But that doesn't show up on my chart as a second entry, so I can't mark that. You get a failure here, and they probably trapped the people on that too. So I'm not too sure how I want to look at this. I mean, first entry, second entry, it does look congestive. It looks like you're all in this bar. So I wonder if anyone in the forum got trapped on that. But we make another leg down. You see this leg and then another leg. Congestion. Moves lower. Congestion. And then we make a double test of this low. But with the bias being down, I don't think I'd go long this early. This is definitely one I would like a higher low. After the double test, are you kidding me? That's a great setup. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of room to this level, 42.17. Yeah, 42.17. You got 3 ticks to that level. All right, I had an interruption. I don't know what's going on. Talked about this. And you can see this is, it's caught between the overnight lows and this level of support. So probably just makes a measured move like higher. Come up here. No lower highs here. This is the lower high. That's like right near that level of support. And it's too far from the EMA. But then you get this lower high. I really like this. This is the one trade I took today. We break out, we pull back in, make a higher low, and yeah, so I like that entry. And then it fails to test these highs. First entry, failed second entry, and I think that's a breakout pullback, or at least that's where I had my price level drawn originally. So yeah, even if you move it down, that looks like a breakout pullback. Yeah, so I like that entry. It's a bit aggressive. It closes pretty far from the EMA. And then we make that measured move, as you see here, get some congestion. And first entry, failed second entry below the EMA. You get this higher low. That's also a second entry long right there. I think that's a pretty good entry. And then if you don't take that, you get a failed second entry short right here. And that's a great entry too. So I like that. Given the context of the range day, this didn't have the feel for a strong downtrend day. I mean, if you move these lows down, it just looks like we are making lower lows here, but it just felt like a range day. Not a whole lot of it was a lot of chopping back and forth. It wasn't, and if you see this too, this gives you a lot of context. I wish I saw this. because we get this channel down, you get a break, one leg of correction, two legs of correction, first entry, failed second entry long, one leg, two legs down to a new low, and it reverses. So I wish I saw that in real time. This forms a channel up. Let me get these lines out of the way. Boom. And we're just ranging here. I don't think you want to take this, although it is a failed break lower. I don't think you want to take that. It's below the EMA. I'd just be a little weary of that. Not enough room back to the EMA to scalp out. You can see we ride off this midline a little bit, and you get a first entry, second entry long. I think you got to take that. It also is first, failed second entry short. And then we're just going into the highs here, so I'm not taking anything like that. Even though that is probably, you could look at that as a first, failed second entry short, but it's just too far away from the EMA and the trend channel. We come down here and you do get a first entry, second entry, but I just didn't like how that didn't bounce off my trend channel. So I marked that as aggressive, but then you get this higher low off the trend channel. And look how bullish that bar is. I think you got to take that. First entry. We bounce a couple times here, rocket on out. And then we're finding resistance at the opening price. And this is just super, super congestive. I don't like any of this. This is tough. I mean, you might look at that as a failed break lower and a double bottom, and there's room back to the EMA. So yeah, 31. Yeah, you got room to scalp out there. You might consider that, but that's aggressive. That's really aggressive. This is all too far from the EMA. I wonder why I looked at this. This is like a double test. You can see that. Really bullish bar. First entry, second entry doesn't quite work out. I think it's just like it's some sort of failure. I'm not sure why I marked it like I liked it so much. There's room to the highs. It's just a really bullish bar, I think. But anyway, we break higher. First entry. This is a really nice move down. And I mean, I think everyone was playing it clearly as a range day. And so we get a break. First entry, second entry. That's just really far from the EMA. Even though that's a very large and strong move down. But look at that. The reversal is crazy. So that's why you just want to follow the rules, stick to the key entry points. I'm probably going to delete that. That's really far from the EMA. What is that, 53? It's like almost 4 points away from the EMA. You get this strong channel up, but I don't see how you can enter on that. And we're still moving up. You can see, it looks like we just had a type of second entry long here. That's also a failed second entry short, and you can see that would have got you a scalp. Made a new high here, but looks pretty good. So that's what I saw for today. Hope everyone had a great day, and I will be back tomorrow.